Yo, what is going on, guys? Just wanted to give my trade recap for today. Today was a light trade. It was a 1-to-1, but the idea was there. And I executed based on reaction. Um, we weren't. Uh, we actually got filled. Our TP actually got filled. Um, like just below like the 1-to-1, which is weird, which is a bit weird. But like, it's all right. We take whatever we can get. So, um, you know, coming into market open. So market open. Oh, let's again. I'm skipping the fucking the process, right? I gotta remind myself, right? The high time frame analysis, right? Then we work our way to the lower time frame analysis to, why we decided to go short when we are bullish on the lower time frame. So, yeah. So coming into market open, the only thing we had on the 4 hour time frame was the fact that we did fill in this 4 hour fair value gap, bearish fair value gap that was created on the low to actually take out these lows. So again, that would be a resistance point for if price wanted to continue down lower after taking out these lows, right? We rebalance, and then if we want to continue down lower, this is the point where, to me, I would think that this would be the point for resistance to kick in terms of selling pressure wise. um on the 1 hour time frame, we didn't really have much besides this 1 hour Fair Valley gap that I wanted to actually trade towards to, just because we filled in this 4 hour. And what I've normally seen happen is the fact that we tap this 4 hour, we fill in this 4 hour, we actually rebalance at this 1 hour Fair Valley gap, and then we continue up higher following that major trend. So like kind of just seeing how um like what makes sense, right? Like as you can see that if we do want to go short, um if we do want to go short. Oh, my girl's texting me. I'll text her right after this. um yeah, if we do want to go short, um this would be the point to do it from, right? And again, following the major trend, what I would love to see is the fact that we break 1 hour microstructure, come fill in this range here, which in this case would be this 1 hour Fair Valley gap, and then actually break past this 4 hour. But the 4 hour does hold some resistance just because it is a high time frame POI. It is a gap in the market where sellers actually took over, right? Didn't give um, retail traders like us or like a chance to actually get into the market. We just had so much selling pressure to the point where we actually made a gap, an efficiency, um, with all the selling pressure down here. So I'm kind of using the wrong words to describe. I think it's buy side or like sell side and like some shit like that. But again, fair value gap, right? It's a gap where it's a POI where we look to trade from, right? This is what our whole um trading strategy is based on, right? Fair value gaps because they work, right? This is where price displaces from. Um, you also have other things like breaker blocks and things like that. But to me, I try to keep things simple. If the trade doesn't show up for me on the day, and it doesn't show up for me. So yeah, in this case, we were reacting off a 4 hour bearish fair value gap. Um, Shorts would have looked really, really nice on the RR, just because we could have targeted this 1 hour Fair Valley gap just because we had no 1 hour lows to actually target. So in terms of high time frame targets, this would have been it in terms of um, targets wise. This would have been a nice move all the way down. Would have been easy to one to uh one Uh, oh, sorry, I was so tired. This would have been a one. Let's actually do it. Let's actually figure out what we. Let's get like the estimate right. So we took a sell here. I don't know. Stops would have been somewhere up here, or even tighter. This would have been a easy, 1 to 8. But again, it's like one of those moves that sometimes happens within London, sometimes it doesn't. So, it's just depending on what the session actually offers us during that time. So, yeah, covering the high time frame bias, right? We had that bearish 4 hour. On the 1 hour time frame, we had no lows. The only thing we kind of had to work with in terms of taking profits wise to actually go short, or was this 1 hour fair value gap here. The 50 minute, we did have some highs and we did have some lows. As you guys can see on the 50-minute time frame, we are consolidating a little bit. When market opened, this first presented bearish fair value gap within this 4 hour was unmitigated. So this would have been a perfect draw to actually target. It's just a matter of where price wanted to target on this fair value gap, which most of the times we normally come and fill in equilibrium most of the times on these gaps, but it's just one of those trades where I actually like top tick like my take profit. So if you sold right here, you would have bottom ticked it or top ticked it or whatever the fuck it's called. But yeah, my take profit was actually placed perfectly, which was a 1-to-1, right? So it wasn't just sit at a random area within this 15-minute gap here. It was just sit at a 1-to-1. Unfortunately, we did get a horrible fill on the entry itself. I'll move it here. But we did get a like a horrible fill. um like not the best. If entries would have been somewhere here or even down here, would have been a nice 1 to 3, 1 to 5. But again, we take the 1-to-ones. But that's not me being greedy. It's just like, oh, like that's the kind of downside to taking trades actually on TradingView, is that when you enter on closures, with so much momentum and so much displacement, it's hard for price to, oh no, it's hard to actually get a fill at that perfect time. So yeah, in terms of that, um yeah, in the 50-minute time frame, we had a couple highs and a couple lows to actually look at. um Again, we had this first within a 15-minute fair value gap, which I actually targeted on the way up, just because that's what market was giving me on the 5-minute time frame, was a continuation. And for a continuation to go long, I wasn't targeting these highs. I was targeting this 15-minute gap because it was unmitigated. And within that 50-minute gap, we also had 50-minute highs as well that price actually took out. We took out, these buy side orders. Um, we actually took out all the people. Buy side liquidity, which was up here. You can even count this as well. But yeah, we had um stops here that got taken out, and yeah, filled in this gap a little bit, and we made that displacement all the way down to take out these lows once again, which these lows actually took out these lows, which took out pre-market lows. So again, it's one of those things where like it's like a you know you see what you get, you plan out in your head, what you'd like to see. You obviously have your conditions, which in our case, the only condition that we use are fair value gaps. So that's the conditions I like to use. Break even was actually at these highs, hoping that after taking these highs, we would actually just finish strongly into this fair value gap and then make our way down, which is exactly what happened here. So what I thought actually played out, which is really really nice. So yeah, Yeah, so again, I'm kind of sidetracking here, but yeah, 15 minute we had these highs. Um, Again, would have loved shorts, but shorts wasn't presented at the time, so we took longs after actually taking out these 15 minute lows down here. So after taking out these 15 minute lows, sorry, just mark out market open so you guys don't get confused. So once we took out these lows down here, these pre-market lows, we actually displaced. Um, we had all these low resistance here that got taken out, and we closed well above it. And within that move up, we made a 5 minute bullish gap here, and hoping that price didn't actually treat this as a breakaway gap, and we take out these highs, but price actually being so close to these highs, we actually retraced down lower to fill in this 5 minute gap to where I was able to get an entry. So yeah, um, once price actually pulled into that 5 minute gap, um, I pretty much went on the 1 minute time frame. And what are we looking for? We're looking for our entry model, right? We're looking for our um inversion of this bearish 1 minute gap, right? It's the we didn't have anything on the 3 minute or and the 5 minute hasn't formed yet, so the only thing we had to work with was the 1 minute. And as you guys can see, we get a nice closure above this bearish fair value gap here. I try to get a I try to get a better fill by waiting for the second candle, but it just ended up filling me like it ended up filling me up here. So that happened in a matter of like seconds. So I have nothing much I can do. Um, we still had that target of going break even at these highs here, which wasn't taken out. So again, with that pretty shitty fill, we were still kind of protected because we still had this draw that hasn't been taken out yet. So as you guys can see, once we get that closure above, we get filled, stops below these lows. Just because I thought there was enough room for the trade to actually breathe a little bit if it wanted to. As we had this inversion now, and we also had some gaps, this gap below it as well. So, yeah, that's why stops were below here, just targeting a 1-to-1. So as you guys can see, we actually get filled like supposedly it should have been filled here, but we actually got filled like somewhere here. So I guess it is what it is. But again, the trade played out, the idea played out. Though we had our high time frame bias, and we shorts look favorable in terms of risk to reward. We took the sit up, which was longs because it made sense, right? We take out these 15 minute lows, we get that displacement, and our displacement created a condition after taking out these low resistance highs. We had our condition. We still had these major targets as well as this 15 minute gap as a draw. And we looked for a retracement into our condition, which in our case is our 5 minute. We wait on a 1 minute for our entry confirmation, which in our case was um, price closing above this fair value gap here. Um, and we enter, right? We enter and we are looking to target a 1-to-1 or 1-to-2, and just targeting those draws, right? Which in our case was these highs up here as well as this 15 minute gap, hoping to fill it a little bit more, but we ended up just filling it, um, at our 1-to-1. So again, we'll take that. Yeah, and that's my one trade a day, right? So shorts look shorts looks pretty good here. Probably would have got a bit of in terms of getting shorts, but again, I took what I saw. So in terms of shorts, after tapping into this gap, I would have waited for this gap to actually be flipped, and once it flips, once we get that inversion, would have went on a 1 minute time frame. And yeah, I mean, we don't have an entry model here, so probably couldn't have gone short here, which is okay. But again, you guys get the idea of flipping the like fair value gaps to what makes sense and why we're displacing from them, right? We displace to them, or we displace from them to fill something or to take out something, you know. Um, and things like that. That's how I've always seen fair value gaps. As you guys can see, we have a gap all the way down here, which price actually fills, and we displace to fill something, right? We come up here, we displace to actually fill, well, this fair value gap now that was created on the move down. Now you're kind of just waiting to see if you get an entry model here or something like that. This would have been a good time to go short, just because if we get that nice tap, we get an entry model down here. And we target that 1 to 2, targeting these lows would have go hit. So it is what it is. Um, the trade, the confluences work. So it's just a matter of making sure our psychology is straight, and things like that. So yeah, just want to break it down real quick. 4 hour time frame, we had a 4 hour bearish fair value gap that we were we were kind of moving away from. 1 hour time frame, we had our draw being these 15-minute lows all the way down here, as well as this 1 hour fair value gap. As I would have loved to see price actually react from this 4 hour balance in this 1 hour and continue on the trend. 15-minute time frame, we had a couple highs and lows. So 15-minute time frame, don't disregard that. We do use that time frame as highs and lows because they are some form of high time frame, right? The 15-minute reflects off the 4 hour. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Yeah, we had highs here, we had lows here that actually got taken out. And we also had, the main draw being these lows down here, but it seems like price is actually struggling to figure out what it wants to do. It's just a big consolidation range. So actually lucky that, we were able to catch that kind of small move up into our draw, which is our 15-minute gap here. Oh yeah, also saying that, for our draws, we did have these highs and we did have these lows, as well as these lows, and we also had this 15-minute first presented unmitigated 15-minute bearish fair value gap in that 1 hour. So once we displace away from that 1 hour, that 4 hour fair value gap, sorry, we made that 15-minute gap, which is a nice draw that that price actually reacted from. 5-minute time frame. After taking out these pre-market lows, we get this displacement, taking out low resistance liquidity. Once we get that closure above, we had our condition set, which in our case, our condition was to fill in. Our condition was this 5-minute gap here, and if I look to take a trade off this 5-minute gap, where am I looking to target? These highs, as well as the main draw being this 15-minute bearish fair value gap here. 1-minute time frame. We pretty much just waited for our entry model, which in this case was a nice V shape. No sellers interacting. It was pretty much a sign of gathering orders here and displacing upwards, which is exactly what we got here. Waited for that candle above, entered, stops below here to give our trade room to breathe, just in case I want to retrace a little bit more, and just targeting that 1-to-1 because break even was at this level. So we've taken out all draws, and keeping in mind that that 15-minute bearish fair value gap was unmitigated and is first presented off the 4-hour reaction of sellers, if that makes sense to you guys. So we get that first initial tap of the 15-minute into that 4 hour, we get that displacement off the 15-minute. The 15-minute reflects off the 4 hour. And within that, we have, it's a really nice place to go short. Like, I'm not even gonna lie here. This is a really nice place to go short. But yeah, we took the trade and ends up playing out. So, pretty good on that part. But yeah, I just want to wrap it up on today's trade. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. God bless you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing trading week. Come into the markets with a positive attitude and a winning attitude every single day. Every trade is different. Every day is different. So always remember that one trade a day, win or lose, call it there. Tomorrow's always a different day. But again, just want to remind you guys that God is good. God is great. And God bless you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.